And that lets you save.
Who cares?
Trueform Life.
Green lookum.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Tadia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Tadia.
Welcome to another edition of nationally syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. As always, I'm your host, Drew Tadia. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our Trueform Life community. Whether you're listening on terrestrial radio across the country or as a podcast around the world, we certainly wouldn't be here without you. Today, I'm bringing on Dr. Joe Newsma, and I got to tell you, this was a fun interview. Maybe one of my favorites in the last little bit. You know what? I'm just going to be real with you here for a moment. Sometimes you have some people, I've been doing this for a long time, and some interviews are better than others. And I really feel like some people hold back their opinion because they're afraid of what people think. I got to tell you, Dr. Joe, he is not worried about what anyone thinks. He's open and honest. He's candid. He's going to be telling you things that you might not want to hear, but this is a holistic show. I do want to mention that just because I'm bringing on Dr. Joe doesn't mean I agree with everything he's saying, but I think that he holds a lot of value, a lot of truth with where he's coming from. And I feel like everyone's perspective is worth sharing. And he's a toxicologist by trade. He knows what he's talking about. He's been in the pharmaceutical industry for years. And in many cases, people don't want you to know some of these things. I got to tell you, it's not going to be on mainstream news, but it's definitely worth thinking outside the box, especially if we've been programmed to think one way. Dr. Joe, he's going to tell you things that you may have never heard. So I want you to brace yourself. But it was it was an enjoyable interview, regardless of what you believe and how that comes across to you. I think that sometimes hearing things in different ways or from different people could be beneficial. And again, listening to someone else's perspective as well, you never know. Hopefully it helps in different ways, and that's what we have coming up. So sit back and enjoy. We got all that coming up.
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Tadia.
All right, welcome to another edition of nationally syndicated Exploring Mind and Body. We've got Dr. Joe Newsma here with us. Welcome to the show, Dr. Joe.
Thanks, Drew. I appreciate being on. I love doing these podcasts and seeing where the discussions go, and it's always a lively conversation. I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic. All right, well, let's take a moment here. I always like to jump into the show. Let's get into some content. Tell our listeners who you are, what you do, maybe how you got into it.
I'm Dr. Joe, and I have a PhD in toxicology. I have made most of my living in the pharmaceutical industry in the last 30 or so years. I have extensive experience in human exposure to drug products, to chemical agents, and to biologics. So you could basically say that as a toxicologist, the dose makes the poison, and it's everything in moderation. But I'm one of those toxicologists that has the extreme view that pharmaceuticals are actually bad for you. But we can get into that. And I have my own consulting practice, Superior Toxicology and Wellness, that has been up and running for about 16 years. And besides pharmaceutical consulting, I'm also involved with a company called Twin Oxide North America, which is a water purification company where you take chlorine out of the water purification stream, you add twin oxide, and you remove all carcinogens from the water. So we could always talk about that as well. But that's me in a nutshell, toxicologist, and ready to talk about whichever you want to talk about, Drew.
That's awesome. I was initially, I didn't know. I think I like the pharmaceutical angle. I think that I've got a lot of questions with that, especially what's going on now in the media and in the world. How did you get into? What were you doing before this?
I was a lowly undergraduate student in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and my dad was an oral surgeon, so I thought I wanted to go right into medicine, following in his footsteps. And in the late 80s, when I took my MCATs and did average and had a 3.3 GPA, which was very average, medical medical schools weren't interested in white males with average credentials. So I applied to 8 medical schools and 2 graduate programs. I got into 2 graduate programs. So I went out and did my PhD, and I was working for Dow Chemical at the time and figured I would finish graduate school, go back to Michigan and work for Dow Chemical. But I did my graduate studies in Denver, Colorado, and you could actually see the sun between November and April. And once I finished my graduate school, I was like, why the hell would anybody move back to Michigan? And so I got a job with Sandoz, which was Novartis Pharmaceuticals. And so I was a industrial toxicologist in a pharmaceutical company for almost 6 years. And that 6 years taught me that corporate America and Dr. Joe's mouth were not going to be harmonious, because they would ask questions with the full intent of never wanting an answer, because it's corporate America. And so I got out of corporate America, started my own consulting practice, because I knew that my mouth and corporate America didn't get along.
Do you get any flack, or do you get any issues with what you have to say about pharmaceuticals now from
everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion. You know, what I did for Big Pharma was it's always employee safety. You know, I've been an occupational toxicologist, so my bread and butter has been to set the amount of drug product that someone making the tablets or capsules could be exposed to before there's any increased risk of adverse effects. And it's my job to set the amount of drug A that could be found in drug B before it's a problem for the end user. So it's a lot of employee safety and general public safety. So in the interest of safety, most pharma, they kind of leave me alone, because they also know that whenever a drug product comes to market, there's a litigation budget. They set it aside from the very first dose of a drug that you sell, because it's not if somebody's going to sue you, it's when somebody's going to sue you. And it's all of that legal, very fast talk on the drug commercials that it's a reason for that, because, you know, pharmaceuticals are wonderful. They change lives. They take care of problems, but they're also very evil in the fact that they have all kinds of side effects that can devastate lives. And it's, I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, today's side effects lead to tomorrow's therapies. So they pay attention to what these drugs do, the thing that they want it to do, and everything else that happens. And if there's another marketable effect, they're all over it. You know, it's like Merck's Propecia. It was a prostate cancer drug that during trials that people grew hair all over the creation. So now it's marketed for male pattern baldness. Today's side effects lead to tomorrow's therapies.
You know what's interesting is, like, so we're in the holistic field of my business, and the show is tagline, holistically improve your health one show at a time. So I've always been more holistic, more natural. And I do agree, like, that there are benefits of pharmaceuticals without question. But the issue for me is that so many times there's the side effects I feel like the side effects outweigh the benefits, but then you're not taking one pharmaceutical, you're taking another one because of the side effects, and then the other one has more side effects. So you're on a tackle box full of pills, and I don't think you're getting anywhere. One's just covering up the other one.
That's exactly what happens. I call that condition polypharmacy. And the problem with polypharmacy is the way Western medicine is set up. Physicians don't have enough time with patients, and physicians see a patient for a specific thing. They add 1 to 3 different drugs to treat that thing and send them on their way. And before the people realize, they've seen 3 or 4 different physicians for 3 or 4 different things, and they find themselves on 8 to 12 different medicines. And a lot of it is to cover the ass of the first medicine that's doing the job, but creating a different problem. And so this epidemic, if you will, just continues to cycle, because physicians have 1 semester of pharmacology and they're not drug experts. They don't take the time to realize that all of these 12 different drugs someone is on can have interactions. And part of my practice at Superior Toxicology is I have a program called HOPE, Health Optimization Prescription Evaluation. And I take people's physically take their drug histories, what they're on, what they've been on for how long, what the doses are, and why they think they're on it, and any potential effects that they think come from those drugs. And I give them the analysis to take back to their physicians or healthcare providers or holistic providers, whoever they're seeing, to ask the tough drug questions and make these guys prove why these people are still on these pharmaceutical products. Every single analysis, without fail, finds drug interactions between the drugs that these folks are on. And it's just, these folks are spiraling like out of control of their health and wellness because they're believing their doctors who don't have a clue as to what the drugs are doing or why they're on these drugs. They're generally as smart as the last drug rep that sat across their desk. And they don't have the time to deal with these drug issues in these patients. So I offer that service to anybody who wants to know that. You can get that at superiortoxicology.com. Just look for the hope button. But it's a chance for people to really reach out and grab their own wellness back from the pharmaceutical demons, if you will. Sometimes we can eliminate drugs from the profile. Sometimes we can reduce or change drugs. And sometimes we can get onto natural products. And the Western physician is the most arrogant in the globe because they think their training is superior to centuries of natural product work done in the Far East, and they ignore it.
So why do you think people are so, I don't know what the word is, obsessed? Like, why is it so powerful when a doctor says take this medication when there's 6 or 7 other ways that they could do first, or that could heal them, maybe even prevent and then heal? But we have to look at pharmaceuticals because that's what the doctor said.
And that's the mentality right there. That's what the doctor said. In the United States, in the Western Hemisphere, if you will, the doctors are put on massive pedestals. And it's interesting that if you graduate first or last in your medical school class, what do they call you? They call you doctor. And there are some people that I'll say it. There are unscrupulous doctors. And there are doctors that are owned and operated by the pharmaceutical company. I read a statistic that 91% of doctors have received some sort of compensation from pharmaceutical companies to prescribe their drugs. That's why drugs are so rampant and permeate every aspect of Western society. Everybody thinks a drug is the answer. I have type 2 diabetes. It's not because I do nothing but watch TV and eat Snickers bars. It's because there's not a pill to take care of my condition. It reminds me of that movie WALL-E, where everybody lives in a hover chair. And they've been doing it for so long that the bone structure is devolved and they can't even stand up anymore. If you haven't watched the movie, go watch it, WALL-E. But it's a constant battle between who really has your health and wellness at heart. Is it your MD physician? Is it your DO physician? Is it your chiropractor? Is it your holistic practitioners? Maybe the people that have the best thing going are the people that are in all of those buckets. Because the holistic practitioners are some of the smartest people I've ever run into. And I say that with absolute 100% respect. Some of the close on their heels are the chiropractors. And then the DO physicians, the doctor of osteopathy, because they learn manipulation. They learn how through manipulation of the body, you can create a more healthy body environment. And then the MDs really are in the last of the race because they pull out their prescription pad.
And I suppose it's pretty challenging when you have, what I wanted to say, that I feel like what you mentioned there is that there's so many benefits from using a holistic approach. And I don't mean holistic approach meaning naturopathic, for example. I mean using all the technology or all the research that maybe even some of the pharmaceuticals have put together, and the generations of Eastern medicine that we know has been proven to work for years and years before there was pharmaceuticals. But if we were to put all that together, we would be so much better off. But it feels like it's black and white. It's got to be this side or it's got to be that side. We can't put it together because you're stepping on someone's toes or you're going to make someone unhappy.
And it's really, it comes up against your upbringing. It comes up against the foundation of what you were told from the day you were born. And I'll tell you what, it's what you believe. And it's kind of like arguing politics on Facebook. How many minds are you going to change? 0, and it's what you believe from the get-go. If somebody has an open mind and what they've been doing isn't working and they realize that, that's step number 1, that they need to realize what they've been doing isn't working. Wasn't it Einstein or somebody that said doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is the definition of insanity or something like that? I think it was, but certainly relevant. So
you guys, what is your passion? Why is it that you've decided to take a different route and inform people or show people that there's a different way?
Well, I think it really got my attention when I was a still wet behind the ears PhD working in my first pharmaceutical job. And in the first 3 months that I was in this pharmaceutical job, I had a guy who, probably had a high school education and he was called a QC sampler in our pharmaceutical plant. And he was taking a sample of a drug called alprazolam. Most people would recognize the brand name Xanax. It's an anti-anxiolytic. Oh my gosh, life is tough. Give me something for it. They get Xanax. And the thing about it, the tablet of Xanax has maybe 2 or 3% active ingredient. And this particular QC sampler was taking a sample of a 55-gallon barrel of 100% active. And he got his face over that barrel and breathed in a lot of it. He spent 5 days in the ICU fighting for his life. And it was that incident that made me realize that drugs aren't actually the good things that everybody lines them up to be. And that's where I said, there has to be a better way. There has to be a different way. There has to be a more inclusive approach so that if these drugs aren't necessary, let's get people off of them. And an anxiolytic, come on, whatever happened to grabbing your bootstraps and yanking and saying, you know what? Yeah, life is tough, but it's tough for everybody. Let's talk about it and get through it. You don't need a pharmaceutical product to make everything better. And it's that type of a approach. And I think the same thing with antidepressants. I think the same thing with the massive epidemic of prediabetes in this country. You don't need a statin. The statins will absolutely destroy your life if you let them. Get off the couch and walk around the block once in a while. And it's that approach that really defines my passion about, I know about the drugs and I know that there are some good things, but I guarantee you that there's more evils than there are good things with these drugs.
So if you look at depressants, for example, or antidepressants, I feel like especially everyone's stuck at home. No one knows what to do with themselves, finances, family. I'd imagine the prescription of these pharmaceuticals are going to go through the roof because everyone's sitting at home not knowing what to do. So we know as a wellness company, we do fitness and exercise and nutrition. We know that exercise can help improve your mind mentally, physically. But it's challenging to get someone in a highly depressed state to go out for a walk to get some fresh air, to go get some extra, do a workout. So
it's nearly impossible.
Right. So the answer for that is, here's a pharmaceutical. Is there a happy medium? Can we get to something like, well, I know you're not going to go do a workout, but can we get you not to just pop pills and hope that's going to change your life?
That's the key. I mean, it's really, and it goes back to, it's very difficult to help somebody who's not willing to help themselves, Drew. And that's the problem is, how do you reach the folks that are reachable, and how can you help them change their lives? And I tell you what, there's nothing more therapeutic than going down in my basement and putting on my sparring gloves and beating on the heavy bag, because whatever was bothering me, and it only takes about 30 seconds before your arms don't like to beat on that bag anymore. But it's something like that. It's a physical activity that changes the chemistry of your nervous system. That actually happens. Just like walking around the block, just like going for a bike ride, just like hopping in the pool and swimming, just like even getting up from your desk and ripping off 25 push-ups up against the side of your desk. It all helps. It helps your circulation. It helps your heart rate. It helps your mental sharpness. And it's education. Education is really the key, that you can't change things in a tablet or capsule form from your physician. It's going to be better off if you dive a little bit deeper within yourself and keep control of your own wellness. And Drew, as you know, you're in the business, but there's other components. It's physical activity. It's getting enough rest. It's eating the right stuff. It's even making sure you're drinking more water than Coke or whiskey, or even better, together. It's taking care of yourself in a way that tells your body that, hey, I like being on this rock and I want to be here as long as I can, because the poor choices are tipping that in the other direction. And, today's environment, hey, we've been home for 2 months now? I don't even know, because I work from home, so nothing's changed for me. But here it is. It's like, okay, don't go to work, don't get any income, but the government's going to give you $1,200 and that's all you have to live on. Well, guess what? $1,200 pays about 8% of my monthly bills. That wouldn't help me, and that would definitely send me into depression. So I think that we're going to see massive effects from the quarantine. And I think some of those are going to be tragic, and I think some of those are going to be okay. And I think some of those are going to completely change lifestyles.
Tell me about, I just wanted to mention, take a step back briefly. You said something about inactive ingredients and active ingredients. There's only 2 to 3% of active, I think you said.
Right.
I always like to read ingredients. We produce a couple supplements ourselves, but I like to read ingredients, see what's on the bottles. I always wonder, what's the other one? Like, why? Can you tell me real quick, why is it one active, one inactive?
Well, the active ingredient is responsible for what they want the drug to do. All the inactive ingredients are to get the drug to act in the body the way they want it to act. So that's where it is solubilized, whether it stays as a tablet through the stomach and dissolves in the intestines, or whether it dissolves in the stomach. And then it also contains agents that help it be bioavailable. That's a big fancy medical word for how much of the drug product is actually available to the body to do the job. And it's also sometimes part of like extending the time of dissolution. So like an enteric coating, the drug is made up in layers like an onion, and it's like a slow release so that it affects how quickly the drug is absorbed, and basically it knocks off the peaks and fills in the troughs of a drug, because the drug has to be at a certain level over time to maintain the pharmacology that it wants. And all of those inactive ingredients are actually very active in making that sort of thing happen to make optimal pharmaceutics.
Okay. You know what's interesting to me is like sometimes I'll look up on the back of a bottle and I'll do some research. And there's a couple ones I'll just throw at you real quick. There's like one of them's a whitening agent. I forget the scientific name or the chemical name, but I always find that's a bit surprising that, they do different things to food, of course, to make it look more appealing. But then you look at the supplement industry, they'll do some things like add whitening agents to make the pill white. Is that correct information that I've researched?
Well, it depends on the color of the active ingredient, and the organic chemistry can result in different colors. And so they actually put in a lot of dyes. And one of the most famous ones was like red number, I don't even know, but it turned out to be carcinogenic. So that one was banned, but they didn't know that going in. So all of the different colors are dyes. But if there's a slight off-white color to the active and they want it to be pristine white, yes, they can put in bleaching agents. And, sometimes that's hydrogen peroxide, and sometimes that's other type of bleaching agents. And is it truly inert? There's a whole field in toxicology that studies the subtherapeutic effects of exposure, and it's called hormesis. So basically that goes to pharmaceuticals in the environment. Everybody and their brother is on these antidepressants, and they are excreted in urine. So people use the restroom and it goes down the toilet, down to the publicly owned treatment works, and then back out into the watersheds. What they're finding is low levels of pharmaceuticals in the environment. Is that a hazard? Well, the answer is we don't know yet. We're still doing that research, and the field is called hormesis. So everybody has a general baseline exposure. It's kind of like Roundup. They're finding glyphosate in Cheerios that they pick up at the grocery store, for crying out loud. How come you have an herbicide in the finished product? Does that make you think that maybe they're using a little too much of that stuff?
Okay, so you have some of your own supplements, and I don't think we'll have time, but everyone, we talked about briefly, everybody is washing their hands and they're so scared to touch anything. We have a few minutes, so do your best.
Okay. My supplement of choice, which helps a lot of people to get off of pharmaceutical products, is called C60 Complete. And C60 Complete is carbon 60, the world's best antioxidant, 127 times better than vitamin C. And C60 Complete is formulated with black seed oil and curcumin. So if one were to go to PubMed, which is the public medical database, and type in carbon 60, black seed oil, and curcumin, they would come up with 28,000 different hits on therapeutic products. The curcumin and black seed oil are powerful natural products that's been known for centuries. And the guys at Live Longer Labs have formulated that with the C60. And that's really the closest thing to the fountain of youth that I've found on the market, is that combination of those three products. And it's absolutely stellar. And I recommend that when I'm doing my HOPE prescription evaluations, because it helps with blood pressure. It resets the way the body does with insulin. It helps with pre-diabetes, and it's also antiviral and antibacterial. So somebody that's on C60 Complete has a much significantly less chance of picking up this coronavirus than anyone else. And with the coronavirus, since you asked me to touch on it, infection does not equal disease. You can come in contact with this virus, and your body can be healthy enough to fight it off. Your immune system is a wonderful barrier to all kinds of things in this world. Otherwise, people would have died a long time ago due to things like tetanus or E. coli or something along those other lines. But as long as people are smart, watch what they touch, where they touch it, and then what they touch after that, and wash their hands and keep your hand sanitizer, spray your shopping carts, spray your steering wheel, spray your phone. My wife is a pharmacist for Walgreens, and she comes home and she religiously uses an alcohol wipe on her phone and washes her hands. And it's just what you have to do. The coronavirus, it's playing out in the media to be this big old scary thing. It's no worse than any other virus in the bag. It's no worse than flu virus. It's no worse than SARS virus. It's no worse than H1N1. It's no worse than avian flu virus. It's no worse than HIV or hepatitis A, B, or C. Take your pick. You can catch it, but over 99% of the people are going to survive that. And if you're that 1% or less people that gets it very seriously, or God forbid dies from it, that's going to suck. But no society can exist taking care of the needs of the few at the expense of the many. And that is the problem with what we're doing right now. We're taking care of the needs of the few at the expense of the many. So people need to get over their fear, get back to life as normal, get back to work, go back to the restaurants. I tell you what, I can't wait till I can go out and have some meal to eat that somebody else cooks and sit there and have a couple beers. I cannot wait for that.
I have to ask you real quick, what is it? Your wife is a pharmacist. How does that work?
Pharmacist at Walgreens. Yep.
Okay. How does that work with with our whole conversation?
We have interesting discussions. We have interesting discussions. I'm slowly winning her over. I'm going to assimilate her into superior toxicology and wellness, and she'll come around to my way of thinking.
That is
but
awesome.
There's also there's another philosophical difference between my wife and I. Me as a PhD toxicologist and her as a pharmacist. I have the very, very radical view that everything under the sun should be legal. Legalize marijuana, legalize LSD, legalize heroin, legalize methamphetamine, put it all on the shelf, and let the program build in the cost of rehab. So when people are done with those hard miles, the program can rebuild them. And that is one of the most radical points of view that a professional toxicologist or in the pharmaceutical industry could have. And it goes against lots of other people's views. My children, I educated them. I grew up, I listened to the 911 call when I was a high school teenager from Len Bias, who was a basketball player for Maryland, he just got drafted by the Boston Celtics, and he did cocaine for the first time in his life, and it killed him. And so that was my upbringing. Oh, yeah, illicit drugs will kill you. But you know what? Freedom of choice is freedom of choice. And what's the difference between marijuana and thyme that you put on your pizza? They're both herbs. They are both plants. They're both natural. And you can find good and evil for everything in a science argument. So if you truly are into the natural, you got to be all natural.
Dr. Joe, is there anything that we missed before we wrap things up here?
The two things that I would say is if you want more information on C60 Complete, you can get it from livelongerlabs.com or superiortoxicologyandwellness.com. And if you want information on the HOPE program, Health Optimization Prescription Evaluation, you can find that at superiortoxicology.com.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Thanks so much for the call today. Thanks for your insights. I had a blast.
Absolutely. I did too. Happy to come back and talk about any of those other cliffhangers we set up.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Exploring Mind and Body. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got something out of it. I would imagine there would be some unhappy people, but there's nothing that we can do about that. We got to share this information. We got to put it out there. I think it's important to share everyone's perspective regardless of what you believe in or what direction that you want to go with your health. This is a holistic health show. So I think that most of us are on board and understand that there's different ways to heal. There's different ways to prevent. There's certainly different ways to treat. And for me, I really feel like there's benefits from looking at the holistic realm of health and wellness. I, without question, believe in Eastern medicine and Eastern philosophies on how they heal and how they treat and how they prevent. And I feel like if we came together with modern pharmaceuticals and put different ways of treatment together, we would be much better off than picking one side or the other, or saying, I'm not going to touch that, I'm only going to do this way. I certainly look to prevention whenever possible. First, prevention is always the first thing that we look for to improve our health on a regular basis, day in and day out. And then, of course, there's different treatments, and then there's different ways, other ways that you can heal your body. But That's what we have for you today. Again, thank you for being here. All past shows are going up on exploringmindandbody.com. So if you ever miss a show, you can always check out past shows there. We're also on all kinds of different podcasting platforms if you're not listening directly on or from a podcasting platform right now. Our main website is trueformlife.com. This is where we do meal planning, recipes, grocery shopping lists, at-home workouts. We teach you how to gain confidence with your workouts and in the kitchen. We want to help you feel better about yourself. We can do that by improving digestion, increasing energy naturally as well. So if you need any help, shoot us a message and we can certainly help. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Tadia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Tadia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.